So to discuss this, I'm thrilled to welcome Julien Kassarian, Thibault Asselot, and François-Xavier Pierrel. Please have a seat, this is perfect. And on the numberly side, we will have the pleasure to welcome on stage Loukas Kozonis, Head of Programmatic CRM, and Annia Champsaur from numberly.
Thank you, Thibault. Hi, everyone. It's a very nice moment together. Thank you for being part of that. And welcome to the first amazing panel. We'll start with you, Julien. You have a very extensive experience in the CPG field. CPG was one of the first fields in retail media, commerce media. I think in this panel we'll see and hear very expert people on this data collaboration perspective. And you are among those experts. You went from Colgate, Palmolive, France, then Unilever in Netherlands, Nike in the US, and now you're back in Paris, but you have an international role, European role on CRM and consumer data as a director of L'Oréal Europe. So welcome. Thank you.
François-Xavier, we come to you now. You've handled data topics at many large groups, from Renault to JC Decaux, and now TF1, where you are Group Chief Data and Adtech Officer. Welcome.
Bonjour. And last but not least, Thibault, you have been leading growth initiatives at LiveRamp, a pioneer in this field of data collaboration for over 5 years, and you are now Regional Vice President for LiveRamp for France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Welcome also, and thank you for your fidelity to the event. So welcome to you three. To introduce this panel and to talk experts among experts and to welcome you in this expert panel, we want to take a moment to reintroduce the concept of clean room that was already mentioned several times since the beginning of the event. 3 things to understand in clean rooms. First, I want to uncover what it is. It's not a new black box, a new funny concept. It's a bit the elephant in the room. It's the North Star. So it's not every data collaboration and every data partnership that should use clean room, but it's a North Star. And what it unlocks is data access. So we are talking a lot about sovereignty today, about building your own destiny, and clean room is the philosophical and technical approach to gain back some data access. So you can see on the scheme, 2 companies can collaborate on data securely, as it was just said by Ben. You don't sell data. You give access to the data at the SKU level. You can access the offline data, the in-store data, the loyalty cards data of a partner under, of course, certain conditions. And it enables you as a company to not only spend money, sometimes waste money in media, or just buying audiences, or just buying a SaaS tool, just buying aggregated reporting, but you can, with this, query data and access data and match data sets as we saw. So that's one, it's a way to gain back ownership. Second, and it's important for the panel after, the clean room, this tool, it's a bit like the CRM Phoenix. It's the way to make data really a currency at scale. Previously, CRM was for the happy few. Today, with that, all companies become data rich. You have all, as company, an ecosystem, a value chain, and the clean room is a bit like the infrastructure to connect data and signals. And so the question today, because we have talked about it for the last years, in the last years it was, why is it really worth it? Today it's not why, it's how. When do you use it? For what value? For what price? And when in your trajectory do you use it? And I think the 3 experts in the panel will give their perspective on this. So today, to conclude, clean rooms in the next chart are not anymore a question. It's adopted by 48% of US retail media networks. And so the idea is today how to make it happen and not anymore should we go there.
Thank you, Loukas. So Thibault, I'm afraid we're going to start with you. We've talked about it a little bit in the introduction already, but you recently made headlines with the acquisition of LiveRamp by Publicis. A few years ago, your CEO, Scott, said you were neutral, and he compared you to Switzerland. So has France bought Switzerland? To tell us what happened.
So this is a geopolitical question.
Almost.
So I think we need to distinguish between independence and neutrality. So it's true, like LiveRamp is going to be acquired by a much bigger publicly traded company, which is Publicis. This transaction is going to close normally before the end of 2026. There is an antitrust procedure currently happening, but in the end, LiveRamp has been and will continue to be a trusted technological third party, which enables our clients to activate their data on over 500 media destinations. We partner with many retail media networks of all kinds. We work with publishers and broadcasters like TF1. We provide advertisers such as L'Oréal with collaborative infrastructure to optimize their media activations. And so that is really our DNA, to be neutral and to be genuinely agnostic with our clients. And so I think Publicis, during the process of acquisition, they really understood this. They made it very clear that we would remain an autonomous entity. We would, Scott would remain the CEO of LiveRamp, and I think for them and for us, the importance is to grow our collaboration network and serve all our partners, regardless of their affiliation. And so this is really something that we will continue to build probably with Publicis. And maybe one personal note, as a French person, I think it's quite a moment for us to see a French company acquiring an American company for a deal of this size. It's quite enjoyable to see a deal happening in that direction. So a little bit of happiness here.
Congrats, it's a massive momentum. A lot of questions. We were discussing that in the morning. You put a lot of vibration to everyone, but thank you to give a momentum like this to data collaboration and data strategy. We needed to unlock a lot of things. So on your side, Julien, François-Xavier, FX, what does this news and this momentum change for you?
I don't know yet. It changes still a lot of things, because not only LiveRamp is being acquired, but it's being acquired by one of our biggest customers. So that changes also the way relationship will be built, probably, the way we are going to operate together, the relationship we have with customers like L'Oréal, with whom we are doing data collaboration. So that's shaking a little bit something that was very steady, very solid, and that also underlines the quality of our general strategy, which is not putting all our eggs in the same basket. We are using LiveRamp on one side. We are using MediaRhythmics, a clean room, French company, independent for the moment, until someone acquires the last independent company on the market. We are also working very well with Amazon, same data collaboration, other applications. We are working massively with Snowflake. The data collaboration we are building with Netflix is going through Snowflake. So we keep our internal momentum by speaking all the languages with only one purpose, being connectable to everyone and working with whoever is the right intermediate to do our business. But that opens a lot of questions, and I really like the official version, Thibault. But I think time will tell how things are really evolving and how we should keep building our partnership.
Julien, your perspective?
No, I agree with you, François-Xavier. Time will tell. I will keep the answer quite short. I think for the foreseeable future, we don't see any major changes. Obviously, Publicis is a long-standing partner of L'Oréal, and LiveRamp is as well. But we're not expecting any major changes, at least for the duration of our contract. I do think it's exciting for the industry. However, I quite like your analogy, actually, Thibault, on the French and American synergies here. But it does raise, like Efik said, a lot of questions to which we don't yet have answers. But excited to see what changes it brings to the industry.
Thank you very much. So François-Xavier, coming back to you. At TF1, you recently launched a brand new self-service ad management platform called TF1 Ad Manager. Can you tell us a bit more about it and what it changes for the brands that you work with today?
Well, for today, the TF1 Ad Manager has nothing to do with data collaboration. But you can't solve all the problems at the same time. So the first one was getting accessibility and easiness to buy the inventory. That's the first step. And that also unlocked the capacity to attract new advertisers, not only to focus on AAA and big brands and big agencies. It also gives us the capacity to open our inventory to mid-size and much smaller size. And this is the moment where you have this platform when we can unlock new type of business cases. New business cases for us is how are we going to deploy agentic into display? How are we going to recommend new segments, new media plan? How are we going to optimize stuff that was a little bit somehow old-fashioned, a bit dusty, and how we are going to revamp all this? What is also really changing is that we are, as we speak, thinking about how we are going to include these data collaboration capacities into the platform. And in my resume, you forgot one stuff which is fundamental to me. I spent 6 years at Meta, and Meta built its reputation, its trajectory through the ecosystem. Building an ecosystem, building custom audiences, capacity to come with your data, whatever is the format, activate it into the ecosystem. And this is something that we need to come to. And the mention that if you are not at the table, you are at the menu. I think the one way to avoid it is data collaboration. It's this capacity to interconnect with everyone, giving the easiness to buy. And I think we'll come back to it on other questions. What is changing lately with the announcement from Snowflake at their summit or other partners is that technicalities becomes lower and lower. Usually, when you wanted to deploy data collaboration, it took months of data engineering to ingest the data, structure the data. And now your only problem, still a massive problem, is that is your partner data clean, consented, ready to use? That's one, but we are all getting much better to this. And the second is, now that you don't have the technicalities, what are the use cases you want to deploy? But between techniques getting easier and the capacity to ingest easily this data into the ecosystem, that becomes a whole new ballgame for everybody.
Thank you so much. You inspire a lot of us. You are among the giants in France, but maybe mid-size in the world, but you build an ecosystem and you contribute to build this ecosystem, maybe leveraging this experience also in Meta. We have the video of your platform. It's not data collaboration, but it's what make it actionable to be able to activate it after. We'll come back also on AI, and I think it's very important to you. So I think you'll make this video available for everyone. And I think if we continue on this theme of addressing this question of fragmented ecosystem, at LiveRamp also you are enabling some capabilities to address some key issues, not only on clean rooms, but there are a lot of emerging talk on measurement. Someone was surprised on the chat that ROAS is not incremental. So after you said that, Thibault, some people discover maybe that they buy media and that it's not incremental. Yes, a lot of media is not incremental. It's unfortunate. And I think a lot of people are working on it. And you at LiveRamp, you have this concept of cross-media intelligence. Maybe you want to tell us a bit more on what you are trying to address.
Absolutely. So indeed, I would like first to emphasize the fact that LiveRamp has always been a significant player in the measurement field because we are able to deterministically link exposure logs with conversion events. And so like this, like with our identity solution and with our clean room capability, we are able to reconcile individuals that have been exposed to an ad and consumers that have purchased in store. And so this closed loop measurement is something that we have been very active, and we enable attribution, deterministic attribution and deterministic sales lift measurement for our clients. But actually our clients have made it very clear that they are happy about, mono like mono-channel measurement, but they are much more interested in multi-channel measurement and have a deduplicated understanding of the reach, of the frequency, of the attribution, of the sales lift. And so we have partnered with many media destinations, starting in the US, notably with Meta, with Amazon, with Roku, to like provide a solution to our clients, which enables to retrieve exposure logs coming from those different platforms and get, metrics that are deduplicated, so reach, frequency, attribution, and sales lift. And so this enables our clients to better understand, how to allocate their media across channels, how to optimize their frequency per channel, and also what are the consumer journeys that drive the best performance. And so this is something that we have pioneered in the US and that we are now building in Europe, starting with Meta and with Open Web via the DSP. And so this is something that I'm eager to, pilot in the upcoming months with the first, testers of the solution, and very happy to discuss about it after the panels.
Well, hopefully we'll have you back on this stage so you can tell us about the first use cases when they're launched. Julien, coming back to you now, you've transitioned from a CRM approach to what you call a data-driven experience, or DDX. Can you tell us more about how that impacts your vision of data collaboration at L'Oréal on the European scale, and what it looks like in terms of complexity of use cases?
Maybe first, for context, it's important to remember that L'Oréal as a business model remains largely indirect, meaning that structurally our view of the consumer can be limited. So I think this chart illustrates the fact that our DDC is a fantastic asset. To collect data, to enrich the data, and then obviously to make them available for activation. I also think, by the way, that D2C and CRM together are making a bit of a comeback in terms of how D2C is positioned to fuel generative engine optimizations and LLMs, etc. So that's very exciting as well. But obviously, we do see a really strong opportunity in partnering with the right retailers and publishers in order to get access to what I would call incremental shopper behavioral in the case of publisher, or even sell-out data, transactional data. So this is really, I think, the philosophy, and I don't think it's the first time that we're speaking at this event, but I do see a lot of progress being made over the past few years. Many people at L'Oréal are working on that topic, and there's some of them in the room. So I want to give a bit of a shout out to them as well. But we've definitely come a very long way, and I think we're now seeing, interestingly enough, I think a large spectrum also of partnerships. Obviously, the pinnacle is to be powered by our partners at LiveRamp, but I also do want to stress the fact that we see really interesting use cases that would not necessarily require the same level of technology, I would say, or technological maturity. For example, we've seen a really interesting one-to-one marketing activation on the 2P database with a selected partner, for example, during a Black Friday in a selected market. So really compelling, I would say, results with a rather low technicality. A bit of an evolution to that is also adding or layering an audience segmentation to this, but overall we're still, I would say, quite low-hanging fruit in terms of 2P partnership. And then, like I said, obviously the pinnacle is really about leveraging our partners, but we've come a really long way. I don't know if this is working anymore. Okay. But we've come a really long way, and with some really interesting learnings along the way.
Thank you. So to build up on this, on the progress that you've just mentioned, now I don't know if this is working, but it's fine. What would you say has been the biggest change in how you leverage 2P today versus how you approached data collaboration 2 years ago, for instance?
Well, 2 or maybe a few years back, but no, I think we're being much more intentional in what we try to do on 2P collaboration. What I mean by that is that I think we've learned what works and what works less. How to make a partnership that makes sense for both parties, obviously in a win-win spirit. I think Ben was mentioning that earlier during the Air France update. We're the biggest beauty player in the world. We have access to a lot of data. So obviously there's a lot that we can provide to our partners, but there's also a lot we can get access to and obviously find the winning strategies together. And François-Xavier mentioned it as well. We've also learned a lot along the way around the technical aspects and the technical barriers, potential barriers to entry, as well as the legal ones. So we're obviously discovering new situations along the way, because each situation, each partner, and each local regulation can differ. But those are some of the really strong learnings that we've had over the past few years.
Thank you so much for these learnings. Thibault, and we'll come back to you, I think, just after to synthesize all this. In the LiveRamp Publicis deal, sorry, we don't want to focus on this, but it illustrates a lot of things. Data collaboration is quoted, and maybe that's really important for all of us, as the fuel that leverages AI, the fuel to leverage AI in an effective way. So, because on AI, there are a lot of questioning about all the rationale behind, and maybe connecting data and data collaboration to AI is a way to make it long term. So maybe you can comment on that. And the second thing that is interesting also on top of that is that you recently signed a partnership with OpenAI to maybe help them prove the value of what they can generate for brands. So maybe you can comment on how AI is changing, turbocharging this ecosystem, and we'll be for sure interested in the FX perspective after as a specialist of AI.
So indeed, I think like we all observe that AI is completely disrupting the marketing journey, from audience planning to campaign like audience building, measurement. Our conviction at LiveRamp is that data collaboration is at the heart, is the foundation for AI, because actually, in order to be able to fuel the different AI tools that are available in the market, you need to leverage first-party data. And in order to be able to do that, you need an identity, a common identity. You need a data connectivity, and you need a data collaboration framework, which is actually something that we have built over the past years. We have this collaboration network, and we strongly believe that LiveRamp is well positioned in an era of agentic marketing where data collaboration is needed to leverage first-party data securely. And so there are many different initiatives that we have announced and that we'll continue to announce in the future. One of them is this announcement with OpenAI, where basically OpenAI and ChatGPT are new media destinations. So we continue to grow our network of media destinations by adding, for example, ChatGPT. Basically, the idea of this partnership with OpenAI is to enable brands who activate on ChatGPT to send conversion events to OpenAI via our conversion API hub. And we will continue to announce other initiatives in this field to enable, those new AI-powered media destinations to leverage data for activation and for measurement. And also there are other initiatives, like we work closely with the Snowflake or Databricks of this world to enable our identity to be embedded into their solution for agentic. And we also announced recently what we call the lab. So LiveRamp for agent builders. The idea is to enable our partners to build or bring their own agents into our LiveRamp platform to enable agents to operate as if they were users of the LiveRamp platform. And so this will continue to grow. I think like Newton, for example, Newton Research was mentioned. They are one of the partners that have the capacity to bring their own agents into LiveRamp. So like many different initiatives, and I think like indeed this is why also this acquisition by Publicis is for.
Makes sense. Thank you. FX, what about you at TF1? What's that change for you in terms of agentic AI and generative AI? What does it change for you?
Good question.
We try.
I think 6 months ago I would have said, wow, we're going to test everything and run everything. And there is one day what announcement, one day what partnership, and OpenAI this, and Anthropic there. And in the end, we are going to receive the bill, and we have to pay the bill. So we need to be extremely picky, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm running for the shadow instead of the prey. So as TF1, we are not shipping rocket to the moon. We are selling ads and developing a streaming platform. So we are going to use, and this is what we're doing, agentic and AI, where it really stands and matters. And for the trajectory we're trying to build is we need to have a safe zone where we control what we do. And that's what we did with Snowflake. We have we call it the composable powerhouse. Everything we do, first-party data, our audience graph, our agentic, our trial, we do it into this ecosystem. There's new stuff coming in around governance, around cloud being embedded in the platform that gives us more flexibility. Everything else will be by opportunity. If business really asks us to connect with new stuff from LiveRamp, new stuff from Amazon, new stuff from whoever, we will do it. Our only job as a tech team and data team is to be ready for whatever is the scenario. Coming from advertiser, coming from ecosystem, the main belief we have is that we have to interconnect. So that's why I'm always here to pray for data collaboration. I'm a hardcore believer in this, and that will be the base for the business transformation and what you call agentic marketing.
And you have nice slides to illustrate that. They are coming, and you can read them during the conclusion of Julien. Please, you can put them in the slide. But I think what is key in what you just explained is this composable approach. The future of the infrastructure, even if LiveRamp you helped accelerate everything, is this a composable approach. You need companies to re-internalize also their tech and to leverage different blocks. And so I think what you help the ecosystem build is to find the right components for everyone to best leverage also your screens, your audience, and I think you are very interesting in the way you help also companies and brand accelerate. Maybe L'Oréal, you can conclude also on how you accelerate on data and AI.
If I may add one new component we have is all the problematic around the sovereignty. We need to have a reversibility between the solutions. We need to have more European, more French companies around the table. And this is like a push we have from our group. And also as a good health management, you need to make sure that you control the provider you're working with and you are not like suffering from whatever Monday or bad Monday.
We are French now.
Yeah.
Julien, closing word on data collaboration, data strategy, AI, and
data strategy and AI. But first of all, I think like most of us in the room, AI is at the very top of L'Oréal's agenda. There have been some very recent announcements, and there will be more, I think, during Vivatech. So that's very, very exciting. I think we see firsthand how it's shaping the way our consumers search for beauty, experience beauty, buy beauty. So that's definitely exciting but uncharted territories. No, I guess specifically when it comes to data collaboration, I'm excited to see the measurement side of things and how AI can drive impact there. So I don't know if we'll be touching on that in the next groups, but this is the first thing that comes to mind in terms of AI and data collaboration.
Thank you so much. Maybe one question from the audience to close this panel. There is one question there.
So how is agentic commerce going to change all that? My question is like, me as a consumer, maybe not now, but maybe like 5 years, 2 years from now, I'm going to use like AI agents to shop on my behalf. How is that going to reshuffle the cards?
Can you just repeat the second part of what you said?
So the question also for the remote audience is the link of between AI and agentic commerce, and in 5 years how the experience of buying will.
But in 5 years, I don't know. I think a year and a half ago we had no idea, but it's a very good and very valid question, I guess. Obviously, internally we're actively working on generative engine optimization and how do we position our brands to be able to have. I would say a prime window and the right share of voice on LLMs and on that front. So I don't honestly have a clear answer to your question. I think we're working on that collectively and trying to find the right way to balance the right brand visibility, making the most of our D2C channels, which, as I said earlier, I think have a prime role to play, while obviously not missing the turn on agentic commerce. So I would say a story under development, at least.
Thank you. You are on the menu, not on the menu, on the table, sorry. And thank you for bringing people on the table. So thank you, and
Thanks.
Let's have the next panel.
So we will have now a session on key features for a good data collaboration casting. We will welcome back again David Fisher. Please, David.